Welcome back to the channel. Imagine a civilization out there so advanced that they can travel between dimensions, but in that pursuit of progress, they kind of lost something vital, like their emotions.
Yeah, it is a chilling thought, right? A society that could reach such incredible technological heights, but, at the cost of their own humanity.
It's like a science fiction cautionary tale. We're going to explore the Greys, beings that are often associated with alien encounters, but we're going to look at them from a different perspective.
Imagine a parallel Earth, eerily similar to ours, but where the inhabitants, well, they prioritized logic and tech above all else, even their own feelings. And over generations, they basically engineered emotions out of their existence.
It's interesting, right? The irony is this pursuit of advancement ultimately led to their decline. They lost the capacity for empathy, connection, even the ability to reproduce naturally.
It's a reminder that progress without balance can be detrimental. We see this in our own world, right? Where over-reliance on technology sometimes leads to social isolation and a disconnect from nature. Imagine that magnified on a species-wide scale.
Okay, so faced with this existential crisis, the Greys had to find a solution. And that's where humanity enters the picture. Think back to those stories of alien abductions. What if those encounters weren't random acts of terror, but a desperate attempt to save a dying civilization?
That's where the idea of a hybridization program comes in. The Greys lacked that emotional depth and viable DNA, so they looked to another species that possessed what they had lost. Us. It wasn't just about genetics, it was about reintegrating those missing energies, those vital aspects of being that they had sacrificed.
Instead of hostile invasion, some believe these encounters were attempts to blend our DNA with their advanced technology. Imagine being part of a cosmic experiment to help ensure the survival of another species.
And what's fascinating is that this hybridization program, from this perspective, it actually worked. And it led to the creation of several hybrid races, each with unique characteristics. One of those is the Essassani civilization.
So who are the Essassani? How do they fit into this whole story?
Well, the Essassani are described as a benevolent race. They're known for, their telepathic abilities and deep understanding of consciousness. They're said to be a blend of gray and human lineage, a testament to the success of the hybridization program. In fact, Bashar, the entity channeled by Daryl Anka, claims to be an Essassani.
Wow. So we're talking about beings who are a product of this genetic and energetic blending, a bridge between two very different worlds. It's like something straight out of science fiction.
It challenges our conventional understanding of reality, but it also raises questions, right? Like, if we accept the possibility of these hybrid races, what does that tell us about our place in the universe?
And if these beings are out there, are there others? Is the Essassani civilization the only one that came from this hybridization program?
That's a great question, and it leads us to another aspect of this, the Yahil.
Yahil. Tell me more about them. Who are they? What makes them unique?
Well, the Yahil are described as another hybrid race, even more human-like in appearance than the Essassani. And they're said to possess advanced technology and, a deep understanding of spiritual principles. But what's intriguing is that they are predicted to be the first to make open contact with humanity.
Open contact, like they're going to just show up and say hello. That's a pretty bold prediction. What kind of impact would that even have on us?
Yeah, it's hard to even fathom, right? But it does speak to this larger theme of connection, of a universe that's maybe more interconnected than we realize.
It's almost like we're being invited to consider the possibility that we're not alone, and that there are other intelligent beings out there who are, in a sense, family.
And that maybe, just maybe, these encounters, as unsettling as they may seem, are part of a larger plan, a cosmic dance that's been going on for millennia.
Okay, so let's take a step back. If the Greys were so advanced, how did they end up in such a dire situation? It seems like a pretty big oversight to lose something as fundamental as emotions.
That's where it gets interesting. Their story, as told through Bashar, is a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most advanced beings can make mistakes, can lose their way. They pursued logic and technology to the point of neglecting their emotional and spiritual selves.
It's like, be careful what you wish for, right? They achieved incredible technological advancements, but at what cost? It's a powerful message for us, especially in our technology-driven world, right? Are we in danger of making the same mistakes? Are we becoming so focused on the external, on progress and innovation, that we're losing touch with our inner selves?
It's a question worth pondering. Look around, right? We're constantly bombarded with information, connected to devices, but are we truly connecting with each other? Are we nurturing our emotional well-being as much as we're chasing that next technological advancement?
It makes you wonder if there's a balance to be struck, a way to integrate technology into our lives without losing sight of our humanity.
Precisely. And maybe the gray story is a reminder to find that equilibrium, to cultivate both our intellectual and emotional intelligence. It's about recognizing that true progress isn't just about the external world, but about our inner landscapes.
So it's not just about avoiding the mistakes of the grays, but about learning from their experience, about understanding that true evolution involves the whole being, not just the mind. But let's talk about these alien abductions. If they're not random acts of terror, what are they? Why are some people seemingly chosen for these encounters while others aren't?
This is where things get really thought-provoking. Bashar suggests that many of these encounters, these abductions, aren't random at all. They're the result of what he calls soul-level agreements.
Soul-level agreements. What exactly does that mean? Are you saying we're signing up for these experiences before we're even born?
That's the idea. It suggests that at a soul level, before we incarnate into these physical bodies, we make choices about the experiences we want to have, the lessons we want to learn. And sometimes those choices might involve playing a role in something much larger than ourselves, like this hybridization program.
Wow. So you're saying that some people might have actually agreed on some level to be part of this grand cosmic experiment? That's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is, and it raises questions about free will, destiny, and the nature of reality itself. If we're making these choices before we're even born, what does that say about our understanding of choice and agency in this lifetime?
It's almost like we're actors in a play following a script we wrote ourselves but have forgotten until we're on stage. But if that's the case, what does it mean for those of us who haven't had these experiences? Are we somehow less involved in this cosmic drama?
Not necessarily. It's important to remember that everyone's path is unique. Some souls may choose more direct involvement, while others may choose to learn and evolve in different ways. But the underlying message here is that we're all connected, all part of this intricate web of existence.
So even if we haven't had a close encounter of the gray kind, we're still part of this larger story, this unfolding of consciousness that's happening on a cosmic scale.
Exactly. And perhaps the Greys, in their own way, are playing a role in that awakening, challenging us to expand our awareness and to consider the possibility that reality is far more wondrous and strange than we ever imagined. It's fascinating to think about these soul-level agreements, right? If we're choosing our experiences before we're even born, it really shifts our perspective on things like challenges and even trauma.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. What if those difficult experiences that we often resist or avoid are actually opportunities for growth, for soul evolution?
Exactly. It's like choosing to take a more challenging route on a hike because you know the view from the top will be worth it.
I like that analogy. It makes it seem less like we're victims of circumstance and more like active participants in our own evolution.
And if that's the case, what other agreements might we have made? What roles might we be playing in this cosmic drama?
Maybe we're all connected in ways we just don't realize. Maybe our lives are like intertwined with the lives of others across dimensions and timelines.
It's a mind-blowing concept to think that our actions, our choices, could be rippling out and affecting others in ways that we can't even comprehend.
So how do we tap into that? If we've made these soul-level agreements, is there a way to remember them, to access that deeper level of knowing?
That's a great question. It's something that a lot of spiritual traditions have explored. Practices like meditation or introspection, connecting with nature, can help us to quiet the mind and access those deeper levels of intuition and wisdom.
It's like we have this inner compass, this guidance system that's always available to us if we just know how to listen.
Exactly. And the more we tune into that inner guidance, the more we align with our soul's purpose. And the more fulfilling our lives become.
But let's go back to the Greys for a second. If they lost their emotions, how do they even function? How do they make decisions or interact with each other?
Well, it's important to remember that they still have consciousness, even without emotions as we understand them. They operate primarily from logic and a hive mind mentality.
So it's like a collective intelligence where individuals are less important than the group as a whole.
That's a good way to put it. And while it might seem alien to us, it is a reminder that there are many different forms of intelligence and consciousness in the universe.
It makes you realize how limited our human perspective can be. We tend to assume that everyone experiences reality the same way we do, but that's obviously not the case.
And that's why these stories, these explorations into the unknown, are so valuable. They challenge us to, expand our thinking, to question our assumptions, and to embrace the vastness of what we don't know.
It's like we're constantly being invited to step outside of our comfort zones, to explore new perspectives, and just open ourselves up to the possibility that there's so much more to reality than we currently perceive.
Exactly. And the more we do that, the more we realize that the universe is a place of infinite wonder and mystery.
But let's talk about the practical implications of all of this for a moment.
Yeah.
If the grays are really out there and they're involved in this hybridization program, what does that mean for the future of humanity? Are we headed for some kind of merging of species?
It's hard to say for sure what the future holds, but the idea of merging with other species, whether through hybridization or other means, is certainly intriguing.
It raises all sorts of questions, like what would it mean for our sense of identity, our values, our very definition of what it means to be human?
Those are definitely important questions to consider, and it's crucial that we approach these possibilities with both curiosity and discernment, with a willingness to explore the unknown while also honoring our own values and intuition.
It's like we're standing on the threshold of a new era, a time of unprecedented change and possibility. And while it can be both exciting and unsettling, it's important to remember that we have the power to choose how we navigate these uncharted waters.
Absolutely. And the choices we make, both individually and collectively, will shape the course of human evolution for generations to come.
It's a lot of responsibility, but it's also an incredible opportunity. To be alive at this time, to be part of this unfolding story, is a privilege and an honor.
It is, and it's up to each of us to play our part, to contribute our unique talents and perspectives to the tapestry of human experience.
So what do we do with all of this? How do we integrate these mind-blowing concepts into our everyday lives?
I think the key is to stay curious, to keep exploring, and to trust our intuition. The more we open ourselves up to the possibilities, the more the universe will reveal its secrets to us.
It's like we're on a treasure hunt, and the clues are all around us if we just know how to look.
And the greatest treasure of all is the discovery of our own true nature, our connection to something far greater than ourselves.
It's a journey that takes courage, openness, and a willingness to let go of our limiting beliefs.
But the rewards are immeasurable. It's about expanding our consciousness, embracing our interconnectedness, and remembering who we truly are, infinite beings of light and love.
It's a beautiful vision, and it's one that's within our reach if we choose to embrace it. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. We've been discussing these concepts in a fairly abstract way, but what about the people who claim to have actually been abducted by the Greys? Their stories can be pretty terrifying.
That's true. And it's important to acknowledge that not all encounters with the Greys, or any other beings for that matter, are necessarily positive or benevolent. There's a wide spectrum of experiences, and it's crucial to approach each one with discernment and respect.
So how do we make sense of these more negative encounters? Are they just random acts of cruelty, or is there a deeper meaning behind them?
It's a complex issue. There's no easy answer. Some people believe that these negative encounters may be the result of interactions with less evolved beings, or perhaps even entities that are not aligned with our highest good.
That's a sobering thought. So it's not all sunshine and roses out there in the cosmos.
Not necessarily, but it's important to remember that we have the power to choose how we respond to these experiences. We can choose fear and contraction, or we can choose love and expansion.
So even in the face of darkness, we still have the power to choose light.
Exactly. And the more we cultivate that inner light, the more we attract positive experiences and the more we contribute to the evolution of consciousness as a whole.
It's a powerful reminder that we're not just passive observers in this cosmic drama, that we're active participants, co-creators of our own reality and the reality we share with others.
And the more we step into that role, the more we realize that we have the power to shape our destiny, both individually and collectively.
It's an inspiring thought, and it's one that gives me hope for the future.
It really does. And it brings us back to this idea of interconnectedness, that we're all part of something much larger than ourselves.
It's funny. We often look to the stars for answers, for signs of life beyond our planet. What if the real discovery is the one that we make within ourselves?
That's a profound insight. The journey inward is just as important, if not more so, than the journey outward. Exploring our own consciousness, understanding our own motivations and beliefs, that's where true transformation can begin.
It's like that saying, the kingdom of God is within you. Maybe the answers we seek aren't out there in some distant galaxy, but right here, in the depths of our own being.
Exactly. And perhaps the Greys, with their strange ways and advanced technology, are just a reflection of our own potential, a reminder that we're capable of extraordinary things.
So instead of fearing them, Maybe we should be looking at them as a mirror, a way to, like, understand ourselves better, to see the possibilities and the pitfalls that lie ahead on our own evolutionary journey.
I think that's a really healthy perspective. It allows us to approach these topics with curiosity instead of fear, with a sense of wonder rather than trepidation.
And maybe that's the whole point, right? Maybe these encounters, these stories, are meant to shake us out of our complacency, to make us question what we believe, and to open ourselves up to a reality that's far more expansive than we ever imagined.
It's like we're being nudged, gently or not so gently, to wake up to our true potential, to remember who we are and why we're here.
But it's not always an easy process. Waking up can be painful. It can challenge our deeply held beliefs, and force us to confront aspects of ourselves that we'd rather keep hidden.
That's true. Growth often involves discomfort. It's about shedding old patterns, letting go of limiting beliefs, and embracing the unknown.
But the rewards are worth it, right? I mean, what's the alternative? To stay asleep, to live in a limited reality, to never experience the fullness of who we are.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's about choosing to live a life of purpose, of meaning, of connection to something greater than ourselves.
And maybe that's the legacy of the Greys. Maybe their story, their challenges, their attempts to reconnect with their lost emotions is a reminder that we too are on a journey back to wholeness, to love, to the very source of our being.
It's a beautiful thought, and one that I think resonates deeply within all of us. We all have that longing, that desire to connect, to belong, to find our place in the grand scheme of things.
And maybe the Greys are part of that story, part of that cosmic dance that's been unfolding since the beginning of time.
It's a mystery that continues to unfold, and one that I suspect will keep us pondering for generations to come.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap things up. But before we go, I want to leave you with this thought. What if the Greys aren't just out there in some distant galaxy? What if they're a reflection of something within us, a part of ourselves that we've forgotten, that we've pushed away? What if the real journey isn't to some distant planet, but to the depths of our own hearts, to that place where logic and emotion, science and spirituality meet and merge? That's something to ponder, isn't it? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep reaching for the stars.